Speak.
I am bound to hear.
So art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear.
Is the Duke's name, his wife, Baptista. You shall see anon, 'tis a knavish piece of work.
Hamlet is, in the whole world, a very, very strange phenomenon, because for some reason that nobody can really explain, this play has captured the imagination of the world more than any other play for centuries. And for this reason, the play itself is an irresistible attracting force. Now, I staged Hamlet many, many years ago, in its entirety in England with Paul Schofield. We played it in many places, including in Moscow. And since then, I've touched at the play on various occasions. But now, with a great distance from the first production, the idea of returning to Hamlet in a new version was very attractive. Now, a new version meant studying the play to discover what for today is no longer as important as it was at other moments of history. It's more possible in Hamlet than in any other play of Shakespeare, for a very simple reason, that in some plays, Shakespeare conceived the play himself as a whole. But in the case of Hamlet, Shakespeare was doing what in film terms you call a remake. He took an existing, very popular melodrama, and he didn't reconstruct it. He just took it and reworked it to make a new success for his theatre. So in Hamlet, you have something very curious. You have a not very good basic melodrama, which Shakespeare accepted, and a transformation of the leading character into the most haunting and enigmatic character in all writing. So you have like a play with two levels. One level is a level which is not the best Shakespeare. And if one's very honest, one has to see that many, many great authorities have said Hamlet is an artistic failure. This means that Shakespeare did not conceive it as a whole. He rewrote somebody else's play. But if one can, very gently, take out of this long, sprawling melodrama those elements which today come straight to the heart of everyone's interests and preoccupation, you get a fresh view of Hamlet. And so what we did, with respect and delicacy, was to take away about 2 hours of the original play. 2 hours of what has become romantic and rhetorical staging, and find in its place a very pure essential myth in which the essential elements are a father, his brother who murders him, the wife who comes into an incestuous relationship with her brother-in-law, the son, and the very pure young girl that the son loves. This is the essential, tragic, and powerful interrelation, and this speaks to us directly today without any decoration. And it was the interest of trying to extract that essential pattern from all that's around it that was the great reason for doing this production.
With most miraculous organ. Yes. I'll have these players play something like the death of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks. I'll tempt him to the quick. Now, if he do blend, then I know my course.
Well, Hamlet is about Hamlet. So the most important element in the casting of Hamlet is the actor who's going to play Hamlet. Now, Adrian Lester has very, very many special qualities. Above all, he's somebody of today. The moment an audience sees Adrian Lester, they recognize a young man of today. He uses Shakespearean language, which is not a language of today, in such a way that at every moment you feel it is the language of his own thoughts, that he is thinking and finding the only words that correspond to that moment to his experience, so that that way you have the richness and density and beauty of the language which can't be replaced by modern words, and yet you don't get the false impression that this is an artificial, theatrical language that only people of a certain cultural education can deliver. This is the false tradition of Shakespeare that has lasted for many hundreds of years all through Europe. At last you have an actor who can be so at ease with this complex language that he can make you feel that he is inventing it. And that is the great quality that Adrian has brought. There's one line in the film and in the play which is the key to Hamlet's dilemma. This is when the ghost of Hamlet's father explains to Hamlet that his uncle has murdered him. And therefore, Hamlet, as a young man, once says, "I will revenge you," and the father says, "You must revenge me. Your mission now in life is to revenge me." The ghost then adds something very mysterious. He says, "You must
Change not thy mind.
revenge me without tainting your mind." Now, at first sight, this seems very simple. Go and kill my brother, but don't taint your mind. But when a young man as sensitive and as deeply thoughtful as Hamlet listens to exactly what his father's command is, you see his father has commanded him to do something almost impossible, because no human being can decide to kill another human being without tainting his mind, because somebody with a pure mind cannot kill. To kill, you taint your mind. Now, how can you live with this double contradictory instruction? If you follow this question, you'll see that all the old ideas that Hamlet is a weak person, Hamlet is a confused person, Hamlet doesn't know what he wants, are all ridiculous. You see that it's simpler and infinitely more powerful. And if you follow this, it takes you through all the different changes in the play, right into the heart of to be or not to be. How do you kill and not be corrupted yourself by killing? And I don't think there is a bigger question for the world today, for the heads of state, for the simple soldiers, for the terrorists in every part of the world. Is it possible both to keep an untainted mind and be a killer? That's the question. And yet sometimes killing is a necessity. So Hamlet isn't a pacifist either. It's the same question that is there also in the Mahabharata, and it is an eternal question.